Voila! So one of my students totally does that to me. He's an older guy. He's like 24 years old. And he was like, isn't that what people do in America? And I was like, yeah, maybe losers. And like 10 years ago. Alright, I still do that from time to time, okay? Like, right before I left for Korea, too. But cool people do it, too. There's small sects of people that do it, alright? So, just whatever. I told him it's really cool, and now he does it a lot. I may be infecting Koreans with really strange behavior, but I want to feel cool, too, okay? So just lay off. Alright, so I teach a lot of different classes. And I work a crazy amount now, like a silly amount, an absurd amount. With the summer classes right now, I'm actually working close to like 65 hours a week, which is crazy because that doesn't include commute time. With commute, it's probably closer to like 70. But now that the summer classes have ended, I'll be down to maybe 55, which will be a lot more manageable, which will be really, really nice. It's crazy to think that 55 hours a week won't be that much and will actually be manageable. Anyway, instead of my regular Hagwon hours from 3 o'clock to 10:30, it was 1 o'clock to 10:30, and I taught classes without any breaks from 1 o'clock to 10:30. But also on Mondays and Fridays, I teach a private class with 4 ladies of different ages. One of them is 30 years old, and she always brings her son. He's incredibly cute. He just sits there and watches like little Korean cartoons on her iPad. One of them is probably about 32, and she also has a couple kids that come every so often. They're extremely cute, very, very polite. They always do the typical Korean kid verbatim response that they do to foreigners, and it goes, I say, hello, and they say, hello, how are you? And I say, I'm very good, how are you? And they say, I am fine, how are you? Well, no, it ends there, but that's okay, you're really cute. The owner of the cafe that we actually do the private classes at, that's why I call it Sue's Cafe. Her name is Sue. She speaks very, very good English, so she doesn't really take part in the lessons. Just every so often she'll do a little translating and whatnot. And then the other lady, her name is Yang Hee. She's probably just over 50 years old, and she's actually a Korean composition and writing and speaking teacher. She's very, very cool, very interesting. She's into some really cool classic literature and classic American and South American poetry. So I'm able to talk to her about that. And the other day we had a conversation about Jorge Luis Borges. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his last name, but absolutely amazing author. If you've never heard of him, I highly suggest you check him out, especially his story Ficciones. But enough of Borges. The ladies are really fun. I'll come in with some type of prepared paper. It might be about jobs or it might be about clothing. Either way, it has a pretty standard topic, and we just talk about it. And I'll go over vocabulary and pronunciation, and usually for about an hour we stick to the class, and then the last half hour is much more relaxed. Sue makes all of us really, really awesome thing to drink, either a smoothie or a green tea latte or something cool like that. And yeah, we just relax and talk to each other and talk about what we're doing over the weekend and just different things like that. They're pretty cool because they have one foot in the older generation's world, but one foot in the younger generations too, because they're really hip. They're learning English. They like to stay progressive, and it's a lot of fun. They give me a lot of cool recommendations that I wouldn't normally get from people my age or younger. So I'm very, very grateful for that class. On Saturdays, I teach for 6 or 7 hours. I teach one essay class. That's about half the time. It's just preparation for the TOEFL exam for the writing part, and that class is a lot of fun. I recently showed my class what interpretive dance is, and they chose the topic. The topic was squid, so I did an interpretive dance of a squid, and embarrassed myself and had a ton of fun. And my other class that I teach is a preparation for 5 students who are going to be part of the KYPT, the Korean Young Physicist Tournament, and it's basically a physics debate. What they do is they give you a topic. For example, maybe they'll give you something like gravitation, and they'll say, imagine that you have a piece of saran wrap over a dish, and you have one massive sphere in the middle and a less massive sphere rotating around it. Explain the gravitational constant and explain how to optimize the rate of rotation. Something like that. I was in engineering physics for 2 years in college, so my understanding of the physics theory is decent, but the actual quantitative components are way over my head. I mean, these kids are still in high school, they're still like juniors, and they're doing calculus 2 and 3. So they are extremely smart. The only thing I can really help them with as far as the physics components go is the theory, which they barely need help on that anyway. But what I mostly help them on is the actual English speaking and formulating their thoughts in English, because they do have to present it in English, and getting the topics together and getting it in a cohesive format that they can present with. And it's pretty exciting. It covers material that I never really thought that I would get into again, besides reading sci-fi. So it's pretty fun to see. They're very, very, very intelligent kids, and they're a lot of fun too. They're really cool. And I will also be starting another private class August 30th with, I believe it's 4 ladies who have been studying English for 12 years, and it sounds pretty cool. What they want me to do is just go and talk with them. That actually happens a lot with private classes. You're basically paid like $40 an hour to just talk to them and help them practice their English. And $40 an hour is actually really cheap for private lessons. As far as what I've heard people charge up to like 60,000 won, closer to $55. Up until last week, I had actually been teaching an SAT class as well, from 11 p.m. to 1 p.m. and I teach them in writing the essay portion of the SAT. So I had also grade their papers for an hour. From 1 p.m. to 1:50, and then start the summer classes from 1:50 and on. But that was a pretty cool class too, because all of the students in there had lived in America for a couple of years, so their English was very, very fluent, but also their understanding of American culture was extremely advanced. So it was fun because I could talk about American culture with them, and they had their own opinions and likes and dislikes, and honestly, they could have passed for American-born kids just with a Korean accent. Some of them did like Nickelback. That's a serious statement, potentially fatal statement depending on where you live. Just pray for them. Just hope to whatever God or non-God you believe in. Just please. How can anyone like Nickelback? Ugh. It's painful. For a while before the SAT classes, I also taught a class from 10:30 until midnight, and that was another TOEFL essay preparation class. That was a lot of fun. It's almost the same class that I teach on Saturday. The only difference is the Saturday class is longer, and in the Saturday class we actually do some writing, whereas in the what I call it the midnight class, we only focus on brainstorming ideas to help the students come up with ideas for the actual TOEFL exam, depending on what question comes up, and different tactics for writing. I am told that I'll also be teaching a class starting in 2 weeks from what used to be my summer class hours. So I know I was rejoicing at the fact that summer classes were ending, but I guess I am getting new classes that will take the place of those ending summer classes. I'm actually happy about these classes because they're really, really fun. They're with my two of my favorite students, actually. Two girls that are just extremely bright, mind-blowingly bright. And basically the class is just covering controversial topics that are 1, international, 2, as I said, controversial, and 3, debatable. Just something that has many opinions and no actual solution or no actual right idea. There is no right and wrong with them. For example, the death penalty, or abortion, or international theory, or drugs, the use of drugs, the war on drugs. So that's actually a really interesting class. The whole thing is just me doing a little bit of lecture regarding different information to help them formulate opinions and ideas, and us just really talking about it, seeing how they feel, what they think, what they've heard, and me adding different anecdotes and different points of fact and different opinions that exist in the world regarding the topics that we're covering. Overall, I'm having a lot of fun with my classes. There's a huge variation in each of them. All of my students are a lot of fun. I've been hanging out with the older ones, doing some norebang with them, and going to the water park with them. Despite working like 2 normal work weeks each week, I'm still able to have a lot of fun and keep up my blog and everything. So just keep your fingers crossed that I don't just suddenly fall apart, okay? Thank you.